Hi, welcome to the Jeff and Jerry Show. My name is Jeff. I'm the borough manager of Mount Pleasant, and my co-host.
Jerry Lucia, mayor of Mount Pleasant.
Well, Jerry, we're sitting at a table, and there's no food. So number one, this is a different show today.
I'll probably lose 10 pounds.
yeah.
You might not have me back.
Well, today, Jerry, we're at a local business that just moved in to the area, and it's great to do unique businesses. Not that every business isn't unique, but this one sure is.
Well, I hope our show reaches out to the people to tell them what's in this remarkable building.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed. I love antiques.
Do you? I didn't know that.
Well, Jeff, I've been hanging around with you for a long time. You walked into that.
But we'll talk later who's older.
It's so unique in here, and things that you and I have probably saw 30 years ago are in this shop.
Well, my grandfather and my uncle had a lot of these kind of things.
They were collectors.
And so I did see some of this stuff, and especially the tools, because they had these stations and they had repair shops. And so a lot of the stuff he has, it does bring back memories. And I believe it or not, my dad has a lot of it. I just never did anything with it yet. But it's interesting to see a lot of stuff that I, like you said, or new stuff that I've never seen before.
Back your memories.
It does. It does.
Yes, it does.
Well, speaking of the person who did all this, is sitting with us today, as we always have a guest.
Oh, yes.
So, Art, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. You are?
Cory Miller,
And Cory, what's the name of your business?
Miller Copperwood Creations.
Miller Copperwood Creations. And how'd you come up with that name?
I started years and years ago. I'm actually an electrician by trade, and years ago I started making copper trees out of wire. And once I got into making things out of wood, it just I started adding copper inlays to things, and just incorporating both together. And
Okay.
dreamed up the name one day, and just stuck with it.
So, did this start out as a hobby for you, or was it a part-time business?
Yes, it definitely started as a hobby. I was working out of a little goat shed in my backyard that my great-grandfather built. I'd have to pull my tools outside every day to use them, get anything done. Then I ended up building a bigger building at my place, which I outgrew in about 2 years. And I'm going to say 3 years ago, I came down to here at the Smith Glass Factory, and I have my wood shop next door to the store here.
So, where were you born? Let's just start in the beginning.
Connellsville Hospital, but I've lived in Acme my entire life. Actually, in the house, I now live next door to the house I grew up in. We don't fall too far from the tree. But lived in Acme my whole life, Mount Pleasant High School, graduated in 95.
Now, was your parents, or were you inspired to do this work? Was your father a farmer, or was he someone who worked with tools, or did he make stuff? I mean,
He built a lot of homes in his earlier years, did a lot of roofing, and honestly, I had zero interest in wood or building with things. I gravitated towards electrical early, and a lot of family members grew up in the sawmill industry. Just never wanted any part of it. And it was about 10 years ago, we were wiring log homes, and I saw a lot of the furniture that they had in there and some of the log type things. And for whatever reason, got an interest in that type of items. Started making just little simple candle holders in my backyard, and did my first bench, really enjoyed it. And then you just keep going and testing yourself, buy a couple new tools, build a few new things. So it was it went from hobby to business pretty quick.
I was going to say, when you made all this stuff, was it for you personally or for friends? And then you decided, well, everybody likes it, so I might as well start selling it.
Pretty much. I found early on I didn't know how to price things. you can't exactly include your time in a price because you don't know what you're doing to start with. So it took a while. A lot of gifts were given early on. A lot of things that I did keep for myself. And, once we got that first one or two customers, just the word of mouth took off enough. And then, having our Facebook site to be able to put pictures of things I was building on helped a lot. And it just was little to no advertising. It grew into a decent little business over about 10 years' time.
What do they look for on Facebook?
It seems like right now the sliding barn doors are really popular. I've probably built and installed 9 doors to sliders this year.
But what I mean, if someone wants to find you on Facebook, what do they go to?
Oh, I have a specific page for my business, the Miller's Copperwood Creations.
Okay.
And we have, we try to keep it updated at least weekly. And then now that we have the store open and all these vendors, anytime they bring something new in, we always post pictures. We try to get the vendors, to contribute to the page too. And so far, everybody's really pulled their weight and helped a lot with getting it up and going.
You had mentioned barn doors.
Yeah.
I actually just watched a little bit of HGTV. Okay, I don't know if you enjoy that or not, but they did install a barn door in one of the kitchens. Is that something that TV and what they do ends up becoming what people ask you for then? Is that something you've been able to tie in? And did you get ideas from TV?
I've gotten a lot of ideas from TV, internet. People know that you're building stuff, so every one of your friends is constantly posting pictures on Facebook of items that they see that they like. I've gotten a lot of ideas just word of mouth through people. But I do notice a lot with the trends on, what's popular on TV, the barn doors, the black cabinets now. Black kitchen cabinets are really popular. We've done quite a few of those recently.
Are you a one-man operation?
Yes. I have help once in a while. I can pull some buddies in if I really need to, but for the most part, I do everything myself.
So it's really like a customized.
Yes, I would say 95% of my business is custom order. On a rare occasion, I do catch up and have a time to breathe. I'll build something for in here, a piece for in the store. But more often than not, I'm stuck in the shop, working on a custom order.
So if someone was to call you, you meet them here. They have to have. Do you work together with a vision of theirs, or do they have usually an idea that they show you, or is it all of those ways?
I would say all of those. A lot of times somebody will call and they'll say, "I need a queen bed," and I say, "Well, why don't you get on Google? Just Google image queen beds. Start narrowing down exactly what you like. Give me a picture of something you don't necessarily want copied, but close to it. Colors and wood species don't matter. We'll make it however you want, but at least give me an idea, point me in the right direction." But I don't do anything off of drawings or prints or even really sketches. I just build basically off the top of my head as I go.
Yeah, but you give people good ideas to go and look and sort of put in their head what they're looking for before they even come in.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have this place open now that I can show them, different species of woods, your white oaks, your chestnuts, walnut. It definitely has improved that a lot.
Now, is this a table that you built?
This is a table me and a friend of mine actually put together.
Mm-hmm.
It's for his kitchen. He picked the boards and everything to use. And then we basically just built it together and did a little horse trading for antiques.
Yeah, yeah.
So the antiques that we see, and we're going to take a little tour of some of the items that you want to show our audience, but some of the antiques then, or when you go out, and were they given to you by your dad? Did you go out and find them yourselves? Is that what you do aside from building stuff?
Yeah. Early on, a dear friend of mine, their barn fell down at their farm on the other side of Mount Pleasant, and she had me come in and salvage as much of the wood as I could. Well, in the middle of that, you're finding old nail barrels half smashed under the rubble, and I came across a few things in there, and then just over the years, tearing a few other buildings down. I buy and sell a lot, so I'm, open to trading and bartering with people on antiques. I have things that I really like, and but I basically will take anything, put anything in here, as long as it's older. I personally gravitate more towards the farm antiques, but we have a fella in here that he's a bottle collector, and we've got tons of bottles in here now too.
Well, glassware in this area, as you know, almost everybody has glassware handed down to them from grandparents to parents, and now some people, my daughter's generation, my kid, but I mean, she could care less about the antiques, but she's changing as she sees things that are more than just a bottle. Then she starts to want to put it in her place now too. So I saw she had some stuff, but it's just not a bottle. It has to be something with a bottle, like whether it's a floral thing or whether it's a piece of wood with a bottle. But I noticed that now, and so maybe the younger generation is appreciating some of the antiques.
I'm surprised with how many people even younger than myself coming in here. I got a fellow that he comes about every 2 weeks looking for wooden-bodied hand planes, and he still uses them. Yeah. He likes the feel of the, working by hand. We chuckle about it because I'm more production shop, so I'll take an electric planer over one of those any day of the week. But yeah, like he said, there's just nothing like having your hands on.
No, and I think 20 years ago, country crafts was what everybody was doing. I mean, you go into a house and it would be all decorated with country stuff. But I do think it's now more antiques.
Antiques, the rusty metal is really hot. I can hardly keep a piece of rusty metal in here. It's
it goes that fast.
The old steel wheels, I don't think they've ever been unpopular, but they're really coming back again. The old garden implements for lawn ornaments.
Now, if somebody would bring you a wheel that wasn't rusty, can you make it look rusty?
I can to a point. A lot of times I will sand something up, clean it up, and then set it outside for a while and just
let the nature
naturally do it. You can use some vinegars and different products to spray on it, which will obviously make it rust faster, but a lot of times it has a more of a fake look to it.
Yeah. Well, the one thing is, if someone does want that look, and they do put it outside, nature will take care of that.
Yes.
So every year it gets better and better with age. Yeah. But if you put it in your house, you don't have that nature taking care of that look anymore.
Well, I even a lot of the welded projects that I do start off rusty, and by the time you weld anything on them, you got all these shiny new clean spots, so I almost have to paint them black, but I hope that over time, they will kind of just bring that little bit of that rust back out.
Did you do your lighting fixture on top there?
Yeah. Huh? That was old piping out of the factory.
That's pretty unique.
I've done them in people's kitchens over the islands and running down hallways, and it's neat because we can branch lights off of any direction.
Just simply black pipe.
Yeah, just black iron. And I even thought it was neat. It still had the old stickers from being gas line. I just left everything on there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, people don't want that removed.
Mm-hmm. No.
Now, is that considered? That's not considered an Edison bulb, though.
They are.
Are they still considered Edison bulbs? 'Cause the shape's a little bit. I've seen Edison bulbs in, and it must be a category, not a specific bulb.
It is, because I get long tubular
Yeah.
Edisons.
Yeah.
The ones I really like are about that big. Obviously, they only work in certain light fixtures, though. But they really have a nice look to them. That the element is gigantic inside of that bulb. And
So how long you been doing this now?
about 12 years since I started, with the candle holders in my backyard. And then probably 3 or 4 years in is when business really started picking up. And then I was still doing electrical work with my cousin at Flack Electrical up till about 2 years ago. Still kind of running this as a sideline. And it just got to the point where I was so busy and constantly late on well, not late, but constantly running right up to deadlines to get things done. And I just finally went out on my own and been doing pretty decent.
You were telling me earlier too, you actually go to homes and do construction in homes with antiques, with wood and so forth.
I don't necessarily build. I have no framing background, but I'll do a lot of like paneling jobs, custom orders, as far as tabletops, wrapping beams. We'll come in and redo your kitchen cabinets. I just recently did a chestnut countertop for a customer. So we get into upgrades in an existing structure, I guess would be.
Well, I'll say one thing. I'm glad we did this show today because the public has to see what's right in their backyard that they can just pop in. I hope you have enough parking out front for next week.
We'll make more if we need it.
So let's talk about that real quick before we take a tour. If you would go to somebody's house, would you leaning toward the rustic look, or would you do the modern stuff in someone's house if they wanted it, like the black cabinets and all that?
Absolutely. Whatever pays the bills, we'll go do it. We actually just did a customer had a house that was built in the early 90s, had the old carved pickets in their railing going upstairs, and it just looked very 90s. So she wanted a more modern horizontal railing and post for the staircase, and we went in, we made it basically look like steel tubing, but I did it out of wood, painted it black, and made a modern horizontal railing for her. And we get into, I've been doing a lot more modern than I ever anticipated, but like I said, I'll do pretty much anything.
Well, I think that's good for the people to know, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of viewers who say, "I love this stuff you're doing," but then I'm sure there's going to be a lot of viewers who say, "I'm not interested in that." But if you have the ability to adjust and adapt to whatever they're looking for, then I think that even makes you more valuable to bring them into a house, because they may be thinking one way.
Right.
And then you give them an idea and they think of another way, and sometimes you can.
That happens a lot where we'll kind of.
You sort of combine modern with rustic.
That's my personal favorite look. I call
Mine
it
too.
Contemporary rustic. You have a lot of nice newer items in a house, the white walls, and then just one or two
Accent pieces.
really rustic accent pieces. Yeah.
There's a nice piece up there, Jeff, you should buy. It's a skateboard, a snowboard.
That's a snowboard, right?
Snowboard.
I think that was an old water ski. That was a
water?
water ski.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, you know what, Cory? We want to save some time. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to let the audience take the tour with us. And you're going to show some, not everything, because there's too much here, but we're going to show some pieces that you want to let the public know that, makes Copperwood special.
Okay, thanks.
So enjoy the chance to see this great facility here. We'll be right back.
Armstrong.
Hi, my son just got home and he said that his friend's house has this glowing blue dome.
It's not really glowing. Zoom's enhanced Wi-Fi constantly monitors your network for suspicious activity.
Oh, so the dome blocks viruses and malware from my devices.
Actually, it's Zoom.
And my house will make those cool sounds?
Sure. Cool sound effects too. No extra charge.
Awesome.
Control, coverage, and security. Zoom. Internet made easy.
Okay, Cory, now we're at what I call your showrooms, right? And you wanted to show us some of the tables you said are very popular.
This one here is spalted maple. The spalted maple is really popular wood right now. People are just going crazy for it. It's so unique, all the coloring and character to it. And then I've been doing a lot of what I call rubble tables, where I take old bent up pieces of metal, things that wouldn't be hardly usable for much of anything else.
Weld them together.
Weld them all together into a pattern and use them for bases.
Now, is that top unfinished?
No, that has a water-based polyurethane on it.
Okay, because it doesn't look like some of the shiny tops.
That's why I really like that water base. It leaves the actual color of the wood, as opposed to when I first started working, I was using all oil based, and it really ambers the wood. Makes, it almost looks like you put a honey stain on everything.
Yes, yeah. Well, let's look around here. We have some more tables.
This would be a perfect example of, this has an oil finish on it, so it has more of that ambered color on a wormy chestnut.
Now, what's the base made out of? That looks like there's handrails over here. Is that a dolly?
The
It's
base
a
is
dolly.
actually an old factory dolly, and one of the nice things about these tables is, I always tell customers, you can wheel it right out of your way when it's time to vacuum, stand it up in a corner. It's freestanding, and that's another thing that's really popular at the moment. The old train car, or like the dolly cars with the big wheels in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? A flea market flip. You ever see what they do there? They'll go around and look for pieces, and they'll re-image them to something else. And so I see that all the time.
I try to do that as much as I can, incorporate something old with something new.
Yeah, well, you see, that's why I studied this, see, before I came. Now, how about the table in the wall here?
Now, that's another spalted maple slab.
And the bottom is a chain.
The bottom is a old logging chain that I actually took. I elevated the table level and then started in one corner with the chain, and then you just go along weld every link and kind of lay it down, in whatever design you want to do.
That's really unique.
Yeah, that is
You're
really.
an artist in your own.
You could have said any better. That's artwork right there.
I really want to do a larger table with the chain base, but obviously that would be kind of spindly, the legs for it. So I'm on the hunt right now for old barge chain, with the giant fist-sized links that.
That back there looks like the old gel cell, Jeff.
I wouldn't know.
Look, you're on this side of it.
I wouldn't know.
You're on this side of it now.
He doesn't recognize this side. Maybe.
I wouldn't know.
Those are actually from the old R&R. That was the
Down-
doors over the bar downstairs.
Yeah.
So some of this is local then. A lot of it's local. I shouldn't say.
I should say a lot of it's local.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to another room.
Oh, I like this room. It's warm.
Definitely one of our warmer ones. Now, like this bench here is another one that I did.
Wow.
That is hickory and barnwood. And it kind of, I wouldn't say an accident, but it kind of happened. I had a few boards left from a project, and I thought, well, that's hardly enough to make anything out of. And I thought, I wonder what hickory and barnwood would look like together. And
Boy, there's a beautiful saying, family forever.
yeah.
Huh?
Okay, I noticed in this room, is this some of the barn doors that you're talking about, Cory?
These are actual real barn doors. More often than not, I build mine from scratch, and it's the main reason is because most actual barn doors are so short that you would almost have to build a frame or something around it to fit a normal doorway. These two are, that's actually two of the tallest barn doors I've seen. But they're a tough sell as an actual slider just because of, the cracks. A lot of times they're twisted and out of square.
Weather beat.
Yes. More often than not, it seems like people like these to set up in a corner and almost have a display around it.
Right, like on the ground.
Yeah.
How about some of the other rooms?
These are a couple more tables and some of the antiques I've collected on them. That lamp was actually an old space heater that had the heat element was the same as a lamp base. Well, I thought it would be a much easier sell as a lamp than a heater, so we just put an Edison bulb in it.
Well, I noticed everything has a price tag, so everything's for sale.
Yes. The only thing that's not for sale, there's an old grinder in the back room that was my grandfather's. And
That's
this is the best place for me to display it, but it's
How about that lamp?
that's another one that I built. That was one of my first chain projects, and I was struggling with getting a design to hold it true the whole way.
Uh-huh.
Well, I ended up wrapping the chain around the fire extinguisher then to weld everything in place, not realizing there was a dent in the fire extinguisher. One of the links, I ended up laying right in that dent. I thought I was never going to get it out of there.
Okay, so we have maybe room for one more piece you want us to see here.
Over here would be another, this would be another bench that I did, and a wormy oak coffee table. Both barn wood. The coffee table, I'm sorry, was actually old barn beams that I milled into boards and made the tables out of. So it really has nice tight grain. Sometimes you still get the staining and coloring, some old nail holes in it. That's
Where was that picture taken? Do you know?
that's that service station over in Scottdale.
Down by Briartex.
Yes.
The old Briartex.
Yeah, that's one of my vendors, Conrad Clark's projects, that he does all the photography, and he actually has another one of the Sinclair sign. Actually,
I
it's
see
right behind you.
there's our snorkel truck, 1974 model.
So some of the items, it still looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Some of the items in here aren't yours. You let other people bring stuff in and you sell it for them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think
Okay.
I have about 14 vendors in here right now.
Okay. Well, Cory, I'm glad we were able to touch on some of the unique pieces because we bypassed hundreds of pieces here today that I think that would be good for people to stop by, Jerry.
Right, and one thing, stopping by, it's so easy to find his location. It was the Smith Glass plant,
Right.
right off of Main Street.
One block.
One block off. And your hours, Cory?
We're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right now. Friday would be 2 to 7, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and 9 to 5 Sunday. And we're hoping once spring rolls around and people are out and about a little bit more, we'll extend a few more days then.
Well, we want our listeners to tell you that they saw our show, and that's why they're coming to see you.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear it.
Well, Cory, again, good luck. Again, it's amazing the pieces that we saw, plus the ones we walked right by to get to some of the pieces. And so there's probably how many rooms here?
I think we're up to 7 right now.
Yeah, 7 rooms that are full, and I think people would be amazed. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Jerry and I sure did. Some of the stuff that we grew up with, we grew up about.
Very impressive.
So, for Cory and Jerry, this is Jeff saying thanks for watching and listening to the award-winning Jeff and Jerry show, and we'll see you next time.